Okay, this is part 2, looking at Unit 4D, loan payments, credit cards, and mortgages. Now we're going to look at credit card debt. And let's suppose that on January 1st you have a balance of $10,000. And it says each of the following credit cards, and we're just looking at one specific credit card. Again, $10,000 is our principal amount that we owe, and you want to pay it off in a given amount of time. And we're going to assume that you don't make any additional charges after January 1st. So we want to pay off the original $10,000. And we're at 20% APR. We're going to pay it off over 2 years in monthly payments. So first we want to calculate the monthly payment. So that's part A. So your payment here follows the same installment loan formula that we've used up above. And so this time we have a principal of $10,000. Our APR is 20%, so 0.2. Paid monthly, so divided by 12. All of this is over 1 minus, and then parenthesis 1 plus that APR, so 0.2 over 12. And then it's raised to the negative, and we pay 12 times a year for 2 years, so 12 times 2 power. And if you multiply all of this out, you'll get $508.96. So if you have a $10,000 balance on a credit card with 20% APR, you need to pay $508.96 per month in order to pay this thing off. Now it says when the card is paid off, how much will you have paid since that January 1st? So over 2 years, how much will we have paid? Well, again, our payment was $508.96. We paid it every month, so 12 times a month, or 12 times a year for 2 years. And so that's going to be, we've made 24 payments essentially, so 12 times 2 is 24. And when we multiply all of this out, we get $12,215.04. So that's the total amount that we paid. So we want to find out what percentage was in interest. Okay, to find out again how much we paid in interest, we're going to take the total amount that we paid, and we've got to subtract from that the original principal balance of $10,000, which shows that we pay $2,215.04 in interest. And then, excuse me, we're going to take the $2,215.04 and divide it by the amount that we paid in total, and that is going to be roughly 0.181 or 18.1%. So 18.1% of our loan was paid in interest of the total amount that we paid. Okay, now we're going to be looking at this question right here. It's entitled "The Credit Card Woes," and one of the reasons is credit cards carry an extremely high APR. So we have the following table, shows the expenses and payments for 8 months on a credit card account with an initial balance of $300. So there's our principal balance. We want to assume that the interest rate is 1.5% per month, which is, if you times that by 12, 18% APR. And the interest for a given month is charged on the balance from the previous month. So we charge the previous month's balance is what we charge the interest on. And we're going to complete this table and find out after 8 months what is the balance on the credit card. So you can see the first one is done for us. Again, we're at 1.5% interest. So to calculate our interest, we take 1.5%, we times it by the previous balance, and we get $4.50, and then we need to add that on to the new balance. We had a $300 balance, so that's where our interest is charged off. We paid $350, but then we charged $175. So our end result, this $179, is we actually zeroed out the balance with our payment, but then we charged $175, and then you have to add on the interest. And that's where $179.50 is coming from. So in the next column, we pay $150, we charge $150, so that's not going to change anything as far as when we calculate our new balance. But again, our interest is based off of the previous balance, so we're going to take, again, 1.5%, so is a decimal point, 0.015, and you're going to times it by the previous balance, which was $179.50, and that's going to give us about $2.69. This is going to bleed over just a bit. So $2.69. So then to find out what we have as a new balance, well, again, we had $179.50 was the initial balance. We made a payment of $150, but then we charged $150, so those actually zero out, but then we have to add on the interest. And so really it's $179.50 plus $2.69, which gives us $182.19. And that would be the new balance for the next month. So then to calculate our interest, we'd take 0.015, we times it now by 182.19, and that gives us $273. So that's how much interest we're charged. And then the new balance is we take the 182.19, made a payment of $400, we charged $350, so we actually gained a little bit on our principal here. And then you have to remember to tack on your interest of $273. So when I add all of those together, add, subtract everything, I get $134.92. Okay, and then this continues on. So we'll do one more here. So we take 0.015, times it by 134.92, and we should get less interest because our principal is lower. So $2.02. So we take, for our new balance, we have 134.92, which is what we started at. We made a payment of $500, so we're going to subtract $500, but then we charged an additional $450, and then we have to add on the $2.02, so we're down to $86.94. So we can see that new balance is coming down as our payments exceed our expenses. And now kind of the rest of the story goes. So the next month there's no payments and there's a charge, so our balance is going to jump back up. So the interest that's paid here is $1.30. Your ending balance is $188.24 again, because you didn't pay anything off. So you have to add the interest and you have to add the expenses on there. Then the next month our interest jumps up to $2.82. And so our ending balance would be $191.06. So then we'd have $2.87 because our balance is a little bit higher. But then we paid some stuff down a little bit again, so we're down to $143.93. And then $216 would be the interest charge there. We'd be at $126.09 as a new balance. And so if we look at, if we look at our original amount, we were charging interest $4.50. As we're paying this thing down, that interest does decrease, but the 1 month that we didn't make any payments, so no payments were made here, our interest jumped back up, and then we kind of start over again trying to break down the amount of interest that we owe. So even though we were paying more than our expenses, we still have a pretty decent sized balance here, because of all the interest that we've accrued over those 8 months. If you total up all of that interest, it definitely will add up over time. Okay, but that's when I talk about the woes of credit cards. Again, that interest, credit card interest is very high. It never sleeps. It's always there. And so, high APR loans, you want to get those things paid down as fast as you can. Okay, now we're going to be looking at mortgages. I'm just going to check my time here. So we'll define a couple of things, and then we'll have to probably continue in the next video. But so a home mortgage is an installment loan designed specifically to finance or purchase a home. In those, you have a down payment, and that's the amount of money that you must pay up front in order to be given a mortgage or other loan. It's just like in a car or anything else. And a lot of loans like to see about 20% down, so you don't have to have what's called principal mortgage insurance. It's not something you need to know here, but 20% is, in some places, kind of a magical number, but the majority of places will ask you to put down at least 1%. Then there are closing costs, and these are fees that you must pay in order to be given the loan. It's a big process if you've done it, or when you do get to that point, if you ever do. To get a loan on a home is a pretty big thing. So there are a lot of direct costs and fees that are charged as what they call points, and each point is 1% of the loan amount. And in most cases, lenders are required to give you a clear assessment of closing costs before you sign the loan. So they're supposed to give you a good estimate on what those closing costs will be, because they're almost always in the thousands of dollars, because there's so much paperwork, there's so much that has to be cleared. So again, when you see, if it says if this mortgage has 4 points towards closing, then that's 4% of the loan amount that you have to pay in fees. So a fixed rate mortgage, the simplest type of mortgage, is a guaranteed interest rate that will not change over the lifetime of the loan. Most fixed rate mortgages you see are either in a term of 15 years or 30 years, with the lower interest rates going on the shorter term loans because it's less risky. And so we're going to compare a couple of options here, and we're going to assume that for both of these we have that there are fixed rate loans. They have the same closing costs, and we'll discuss the pros and cons of each. But we're going to use the same formula to determine the payments on these loans, so the monthly payment. So our payment for the first option, so we'll do option one in color black here, payment is going to be the $150,000 mortgage times by our APR, which is 0.08. We make 12 payments per year, divided by 1 minus 1 plus that 0.08 over 12, raised to the negative 12 times, and if it's a 30-year loan, 12 times 30 power. And when I multiply all this out, I get $1,100.65. And that's going to be the payment on the 30-year loan at 8%. So if I look at the payment of the 30-year loan, or excuse me, the 15-year loan, that's my bad. So take $150,000, has a lower interest rate, again, because they're usually lower because they are less risk, because there's less time involved. And over 1 minus 1 plus 0.07 over 12, now raised to the negative 12, because pay it monthly, but times 15 power. So here we get an amount of $1,348.24. So intuition would think, well, if you cut the time, if you have half the time, then the loans amounts should be about double. One should be half of the other, or however you want to think of that. And in reality, it's not. but you definitely in 15 years to pay it off, you're going to be paying a little bit more money. So